Joining me now here on Extra Innings is WBWC sports director. He is just getting back from Iowa, calling a big World Series appearance, I believe. Is that correct? World
Yeah.
Series appearance by the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. He is Matt Beck. Matt, how are you today?
Andrew, I'm doing great. First of all, just thanks for having me on your show. I'm really excited to be on this. Really excited to do this interview with you, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime, of course. And we're glad to have you here on Extra Innings. So I want to ask a little bit about BW Baseball. I mean, their record was really good this year. They overcame Marietta, one of the toughest teams in the OAC. Can you just give me a little bit of a glimpse of what this season meant for you covering it and what it means for Baldwin Wallace?
Oh man, I mean, it was an honor covering it. As you mentioned, that sweep against Marietta. I mean, I was on the call for that one, and just throughout the season. Obviously the tournament runs, the regionals, and the in-season play meant a lot to the Yellow Jacket University. It meant a lot to the community, as you can tell. I mean, for me, being at almost all the games, it was almost the stands were packed for pretty much every game, and the support had never been anything that I've seen for a team in the Division 3 level. And I mean, just for me being able to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form, I mean, it was special. I mean, obviously the season was legendary all the way around, and I mean, I was able to witness the team through their ups and downs. And trust me, there were ups and downs despite popular belief. And I mean, like I said, it was special, and it meant a lot for me in my broadcasting career, and just for the Yellow Jacket community. I mean, it's something that they're going to hold on to for a while.
Absolutely. Definitely a special season. And I'll say last year, you definitely could feel things brewing a little bit back when I was in the sports department here at the Sting, which seems like such a long time ago. But nevertheless, it felt like something was brewing with this Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets team. And they finally were able to break through this year and get to the College World Series. Can you give me a little bit about what happened on the way leading up to it? A little bit about the regular season, the postseason, the tournaments, what all took place, and to how this success came to the baseball program?
Yeah, I mean the success was always there just from day one. They went on a winning streak. They lost the game early to a team that was actually in the College World Series. But I mean, in the non-conference play, the Yellow Jackets were pretty unstoppable, taking down teams that were nationally ranked, taking down teams that were, they had that pedigree and were expected to do well. And then once the OAC comes around, as a student athlete myself, when OAC comes around, no matter where the team might be ranked, it's always going to be a battle. That's what people don't understand is that when conference comes in, you have that extra preparation. You've been dealing with the same players for years now. So those coaches, and that's what happened to the Yellow Jackets. I mean, obviously they couldn't keep their success, but like I said, they won the outright OAC title, sweeping Marietta for the first time ever. I mean, I'm not sure, for the first time in a while, at least to my knowledge. And they had some rough bumps, lost away. I think they lost the game to Marietta, ONU, and John Kerr. That's just going to happen in any long season. I mean, you're a baseball team. You can't win every game. That's just not how baseball. Even Johns Hopkins, the team that placed second, they had the best winning percentage in all of NCAA. But I mean, they lost games. They didn't even win the World Series, like I said. But and like I mentioned, they had some bumps. There was a series against John Carroll, which they clinched the OAC title, but it took them the second game. It took them the second game of that doubleheader, and I think that was what really kind of kickstarted the postseason run. I mean, even the OAC tournament, it was a bit of a letdown. I hate to say it, but the Yellow Jackets got bounced in two games, and it just kind of looked like there was something missing from the team, just hitting wise. The pitching was always going to be there, but I mean, I'm a firm believer that there is some talk amongst the players going into the regionals after they were granted the second seed in the Granville regional down in Denison, because once they landed in Denison and started that regional, I mean, it was a different team. They took down a solid Spalding team 4-3, and then they played against Denison. They had to beat them two times in a row, and Denison was a team that they did not beat in the regular season. I mean, Denison, I forget the exact score, but Denison ended up winning, and then Baldwin Wallace, they won the first game, a very tight affair. They would take the lead by like four, and then Denison would claw back and make it a one-run game, and then Yellow Jackets, they just outlasted them. Then the second game the next morning, uh, Denison was a little tired. Baldwin Wallace was more rested, and they ended up winning the game by like 15 runs, and that was what really just like catapulted into the super regionals in which they dominated Aurora as well, and then as we saw in the World Series. So I still think that um yeah, Anthony's and I was on the call with Anthony a lot of times, and he was always one to say that, great teams know how to lose. And I'm a firm believer that the Yellow Jackets took these losses throughout the regular season in the OAC tournament, and they went in there with their humble mindsets, and they really start to come alive in the NCAA postseason.
I want to ask a little bit about these games against Johns Hopkins. The loss 8-2 would be the end of the Bolton Wallace Yellow Jackets baseball season, but they did defeat them in the first game 6-3, and then they lost to them that Saturday 10-6. So 3 games against Johns Hopkins. I see Endicott was an opponent as well in the College World Series. What can you make of what it was like calling those games in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and what it meant not only maybe for the station, but also to the university as well as the baseball program?
Well, obviously, when you're a baseball program, especially the Division III level, making the College World Series, it's going to be a huge impact, for the community. I mean, whether it might be even for funding or just some the fact that you have your athletic program in a championship series like that, it's going to be huge regardless. But for the station, I mean, I think it was even bigger. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, obviously, the Yellow Jackets have only made the World Series 3 times now, 2019, then 2022 and 2023, and we have been blessed with the opportunity to call those games until this year. So, I mean, I think at least in my broadcasting career, those were the biggest calls in my life, and probably in my career as a sports director, it was probably the biggest series of the station's career. I can't speak on the other sports directors' behalf, but at least for mine, that was the most impactful, most important, and the biggest. Those definitely the biggest games, in the station. I mean, obviously, it's up there with the national tournament for the women's basketball team down in Hope. But obviously the baseball team had a bit more success down in the World Series. So I mean, I really wish I can speak on that more, but I mean, I mean, to put it short, it was big just for my life, and obviously some of those games being against Johns Hopkins, and I mean being on the call for that Vinny Capilupo catch that made its rounds on ESPN, topping at number 3 on the Sports Center top 10, and then even I mean calling those games against Endicott, Misericordia, and then I mean the Elder they were just so close to making that championship round, but all good things must come to an end, and I mean I think fatigue just caught up near the end for Baldwin Wallace. But I mean, overall, it was an amazing experience. If I'm blessed with the opportunity again, that would just be that'd be even huge. So I mean, obviously, I'm just grateful because not every team gets that opportunity. I'm just grateful that we were.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to move a little bit away from BW baseball now, but it's a great thing for the program, great thing for our station, and great job by you and Anthony covering that as always. And from one sports director to another, I want to talk a little bit about how you think the Guardians have been playing lately a little bit. I mean, I watched the game Friday between the Astros and Guardians. What do you make of Will Brennan getting that walk-off, Stephen Kwan's defense, and Josh Naylor getting those 2 big hits? That was one heck of a performance by the Guardians.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was in the outfield for that game. I was in attendance, and I mean that was just in live sports, watching live sports in my life. That was probably one of the craziest games that I've ever been to. And I can't think of many others where you have those teams going back and forth in the extras, the Guardians tying it in the bottom of the ninth, coming back after being down 4-0, 3-0 before they were even up to bat. And I mean, Will Brennan, I would say he's more known as like a contact hitter, but getting him on base and winning the game off that hit, bringing home the winning run. Crazy. Stephen Kwan in the outfield, making that diving catch to save the game. I mean, it was at first they called it a fair ball, but it was good. So it was crazy. It was surreal even.
Absolutely. And the next thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is what's the future of the sports department going to look like this summer? I know a lot of times there's not going to be too many events going on around campus, but I'm sure the sports department and Sports Pulse is going to be keeping busy. Can you give me a little bit of insight on what the summer is going to look like?
Of course, so obviously this summer, not many two events going on, but I do have some stuff planned. I'm planning on getting some interviews with some of the athletic department's coaches here shortly, so we can get some previews or some reviews. I mean, I thought high on my list is the Ball and Walls head coach for baseball, Brian Harrison. And I just want to want to pick his brain, kind of what you're doing to me right now, pick his brain about the baseball season, and then I'd love to get some of the fall sport coaches here in the station just to get some previews on their team's outlook for the season. So, that's giving you a little sneak peek there. Hope all goes well.
Of course, I know you're on the BW soccer team as well. So can you give me a little insight on that?
Yeah, no, we're good. It's gonna be a fun season. Can't say much, but it's gonna be a fun season coming up, and I can't wait to be a part. I can't wait to be a part of it.
All right, to wrap things up, you hosted the Arctic Monkeys Marathon this past Thursday. I know here on Extra Innings, that's not really a group that's in our time frame, but just tell me a little bit about how that marathon went for you, what some of the more requested songs were, and how you enjoyed doing your first marathon here at 88.3 FM The Sting.
Yeah, it was awesome. I've always been a fan of the Arctic Monkeys, and just by doing that marathon, I know probably more than the average Arctic Monkey fan. I know a lot about that band now just by doing some research. But yeah, obviously it's just some of those more popular songs being 505, Do I Want to Know, and like Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High. Those are some of the more requested songs, some of the more popular songs by Arctic Monkeys. I know 505 is one of my favorite songs in general, not even just by the band. So, but it was awesome being a part of something special for the station, doing my first ever marathon. It was awesome. I can't wait to do it next year, probably with a different band, but I don't know who. But we'll see what the future holds.
Matt, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you had a great time here on Extra Innings, and we'll definitely be talking to you soon. Good luck with everything going on in the sports department here at the Sting.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for your kind words. Have a great rest of your show. Once again, thank you so much.
From one former sports director to the current sports director, that was Matt Beck here on Extra Innings with me, Andrew Hody, on 88.3 FM The Sting. Once again, Matt, thank you.
Thank you.